Imagine the world as a grand stage, where every nation plays its part, and the spotlight constantly shifts from one region to another. But now, the script is changing, and the familiar roles are being rewritten before our eyes. For decades, the West, led by the US and Europe, set the rules, shaping the global order through alliances, economic power, and shared values. But new actors are demanding a rewrite, eager to have their voices heard and their interests represented on the world stage. Now, two EU nations are looking eastward, challenging the very identity of Europe and questioning the direction of its future. The EU was built on unity and shared prosperity, a vision forged in the aftermath of war to ensure peace and cooperation. But today, that unity is under threat, as internal divisions and external pressures test the strength of the European project. On September 1st, 2025, we witness a historic pivot. Two EU members seeking a future outside the traditional Western club, signaling a dramatic shift in alliances. This move questions whether the Western-led order is the only path to prosperity, or if alternative models can offer new opportunities and stability. The world is watching as power centers shift from west to east, and the idea of a multipolar world becomes more than just a theory. The implications stretch far beyond Brussels, affecting global money flows, supply chains, and security alliances that have defined the post-war era. This isn't just a diplomatic maneuver, it's a bold statement about the desire for change and the search for new partnerships. It's a reflection of deep dissatisfaction among citizens and leaders alike, who feel left behind by old promises and new realities. It's also a gamble on a new system, one that could bring risk, but also the hope of greater influence and independence. The decision by two EU members to approach the BRICS bloc signals a global realignment that could redefine alliances, economies, and the very nature of international cooperation for decades to come. The old certainties are gone, replaced by questions and possibilities that few could have imagined just a few years ago. A new, uncertain era has begun, one where Europe stands at a crossroads, and the world waits to see which path it will choose. What's happening? Hungary and Slovakia, both EU members, have publicly declared their intent to join BRICS+. This is unprecedented. EU nations seeking membership in a bloc seen as a counterweight to the West. It's a direct challenge to EU unity, exposing deep fractures within the alliance. Hungary and Slovakia have long clashed with Brussels on migration, rule of law, and relations with Russia. Their BRICS interest is a calculated move, betting on the future of global growth shifting eastward. For the US and core EU allies, it's a warning sign. For Russia and China, a propaganda victory. The appeal of an alternative world order is now strong enough to attract even Western insiders. To truly grasp the stakes in today's shifting world, let's break down the key players shaping global politics and economics. The European Union, or EU, is a unique political and economic union of 27 European countries. It's built on shared values like democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. The EU's single market allows goods, services, people, and capital to move freely, aiming to foster peace, stability, and prosperity across the continent. On the other side, BRICS began as an economic acronym: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and later South Africa. Over time, it has evolved into a significant political force, representing some of the world's largest emerging economies. Unlike the EU's tightly integrated structure, BRICS is a looser alliance. Its members are united by a shared ambition to amplify their collective voice on the world stage and push for reforms in global institutions that have long been dominated by Western powers. The EU and BRICS often find common ground on issues like trade and climate change, working together when interests align. However, they frequently clash over topics such as human rights, democracy, and the rules of global governance, highlighting their different worldviews. In 2024, BRICS took a bold step by expanding its membership. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran joined the group, transforming it into what's now called BRICS+. With this expansion, BRICS+ now represents nearly half of the world's population and commands a major share of global GDP and oil production. This gives the bloc unprecedented economic and geopolitical influence. The addition of new members has transformed BRICS+ into the main platform for the Global South, giving a stronger voice to developing nations seeking alternatives to Western-led institutions. Even countries within the EU, like Hungary and Slovakia, are showing interest in BRICS+. This signals the bloc's growing appeal and the desire for more diverse partnerships beyond traditional alliances. While the EU stands for deep integration, shared rules, and collective decision-making, BRICS+ offers flexibility, looser cooperation, and alternative partnerships that attract countries seeking more autonomy. The growing rivalry and competition between these two powerful blocs is actively reshaping the global order, creating new opportunities and challenges for countries worldwide. As the world's alliances shift, Hungary and Slovakia find themselves at the center of this transformation, navigating between the EU's traditions and BRICS+'s new possibilities. Hungary and Slovakia's pivot east solidified after the BRICS+ expansion. Hungarian PM Orbán declared, "Hungary must not tie its cart to only one horse. The age of Western dominance is over." Slovakia's PM Fico echoed, "Our EU membership is a reality, but it should not be a cage." Both leaders frame BRICS+ as an economic opportunity and a statement of sovereignty. Energy security is key. BRICS+ now includes major suppliers like Russia, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. They see Asia's markets and infrastructure projects as vital for future growth, especially as the EU stagnates. Politically, Orbán and Fico position themselves as rebels against Brussels' liberal consensus. By aligning with BRICS+, they seek validation for their model of national sovereignty. Their message to Brussels: we have options and powerful friends. If Hungary and Slovakia join BRICS+, it would shatter the illusion of a united European foreign policy. The EU's ability to act as a single bloc would be severely compromised. Imagine EU members with veto power also allied with Russia and China. Paralysis would follow. NATO too would face a crisis. How can members share secrets with countries courting its main rivals? For Russia and China, it's a strategic win, gaining influence inside Western institutions. Hungary and Slovakia could block anti-Russian or anti-Chinese moves from within. This could trigger a domino effect, encouraging others to pivot east. The world would become more fragmented, unpredictable, and unstable. The economic lure of BRICS+ is strong, but the risks are huge. BRICS+ offers access to vast markets and alternative investment sources, appealing to Hungary and Slovakia's export-driven economies. The BRICS New Development Bank and China's AIIB promise infrastructure funding with fewer political strings. But the EU is their main trading partner. Over 75% of Hungary's and 80% of Slovakia's exports go to the EU. EU membership means frictionless trade and billions in development funds. Jeopardizing this for uncertain BRICS+ gains is a massive gamble. Brussels could retaliate with tariffs or funding cuts, crippling their economies. Investors might flee, and adapting to BRICS+ standards would be complex. The economic dream could quickly become a nightmare. This geopolitical gamble has real consequences for ordinary people. Societies in Hungary and Slovakia are deeply divided. Supporters see the BRICS+ pivot as patriotic, a way to protect national identity and values. Opponents, often younger and urban, fear losing EU freedoms and democratic norms. The move pits city against countryside, young against old, and fuels polarized media narratives. Social cohesion is at risk, with the potential for unrest and lasting divisions. The decision could reshape education, culture, and the very identity of these nations. It's a battle for the soul of Hungary and Slovakia. The human cost will be measured in social unity and the prospects of a generation. To make sense of this complex and rapidly evolving situation, I reached out to Dr. Anna Petrova, a leading expert on Central Europe and its shifting political landscape. Her insights help us understand the deeper motivations behind recent events. Dr. Petrova explains that Hungary and Slovakia's recent moves are not isolated incidents, but rather part of a much broader crisis of confidence that is currently gripping the Western world. Across Europe, governments are facing mounting pressure from within and from outside, leading to uncertainty and division. For leaders like Viktor Orbán in Hungary and Robert Fico in Slovakia, the issue goes far beyond simple anti-EU sentiment. It's about asserting national sovereignty, gaining leverage in negotiations, and responding to the demands of their own citizens who feel left behind by Brussels. These leaders see the BRICS Plus alliance as a dynamic alternative that respects national differences and offers new opportunities. In contrast, they view the EU as increasingly rigid, bureaucratic, and sometimes overreaching in its demands for conformity. However, Dr. Petrova cautions that the risks of breaking away are significant. The EU single market is not just a political project, it's a daily economic reality that underpins jobs, trade, and prosperity for millions across the continent. By contrast, the potential benefits of joining or aligning with BRICS Plus remain largely theoretical at this stage, with many uncertainties about how such partnerships would work in practice. There's also a real danger that smaller European states could become mere pawns in the larger rivalry between the United States and China, rather than acting as sovereign bridges or independent actors on the world stage. Dr. Petrova warns that if the EU's response is limited to threats and punitive measures, it could easily backfire, deepening resentment and pushing more countries toward the exit. Brussels must not only defend its core principles and values, but also listen carefully and address the legitimate grievances that are driving some member states to question their place in the Union. The European Union can no longer take the loyalty of its members for granted. It must work actively to earn and maintain that trust through dialogue, reform, and genuine partnership. In many ways, this moment serves as a wake-up call for Europe, a reminder that unity is not automatic, but something that must be renewed and strengthened in the face of new challenges. We're at a turning point in history. Hungary and Slovakia's BRICS Plus gamble is a symbol of a world in flux. The old Western path to prosperity is no longer certain. A multipolar age is dawning. Their risk is enormous, trading EU benefits for the promise of a new order. The West must reflect. Why is its model losing appeal, and how can it adapt? The choices made now will shape the world for generations. What do you think? Bold move or disastrous mistake? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more analysis.